Hello, we are live for Tidbits and Scribbles. I know I sit there and I do that same thing that's in the video, and it's like, oh,
I can't do that.
come up with a new one. Yes. So, like we talked about tonight, we're just gonna wing it. We have important stuff to go over about like places we'll be, places you guys can find us. And I don't care if you're a reader or a writer, you can find me at any of these book signings or Comic-Cons or whatever. And let's talk books. I don't care if you come to buy my books. I'd love that. That's how I feed my kids. But if you want to talk books, if you want to talk stuff like that, bring it. Like, come see me. So, first place you can find me will be February 18th and 19th at the Northwoods Mall in Peoria, Illinois. So that's coming up the weekend after Valentine's Day. So bring your sweetie because she's going to want something that you didn't get her.
One of Michaela's books.
Yeah, like my books, because there's new and exciting stuff coming with my books. The details have not been pounded out yet, but very exciting things like, I don't want to say teaser books, but like Velas to go along with the novels that are side stories that normally you don't get with a novel series, a series of novels. You get just the basics. So now we're thinking, okay, we can do these offshoot stories, and they don't have to be a full novel. They could just be a little short story. So those will be coming soon. But those, again, will be just at the signings. You can only get them from me or at a signing. The next thing I have is April 20th, actually. Just within the last couple hours, I got this all worked out. Our local bookstore called the Book Nook is hosting author nights. So I will get to go and host an author night. You can come see me. My books are available at the Book Nook, online at thebooknookshop.com. So it's really exciting because not only are my books available there, I love that shop. It's one of my favorites. And so I got together with the owner of that shop, and she's going to set us up. And it's not just me. There's going to be other authors there. So go there, have some fun, meet some authors you've never met before. So in a lot of different genres. A lot of the local authors around here, there's horror writers, there's history writers with the history of the area. So, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. So that's what I have going. We want to, I'm trying to get to make it smooth transition, like Love for the Hales project. It's right here. Oh, there it is. Yes. I am so not good at this smooth transition.
But you're getting better.
I am getting better. So the GoFundMe is still going on for the Hales. There's still donations being made, which is fantastic. And tonight, the next person that donates $20 or more will get Warrior Secret. I have it right here. It's ready to go. Get the glare off of it. Yes. So whoever, the next person that donates $20 or more, I'll keep watching. You'll get that book signed, sealed, and delivered.
Cool.
All right. So what have you guys been up to?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Well, let's see.
Donna.
Everybody's saying hello to Keisha. Just want to acknowledge that. Yes. I will be on Nick Tucker's Nevermind the Furthermore tomorrow with Don Dulles and Kelly Austin. And I'm not sure who all else is going to show up. It's about women in publishing. And also, my very first ad for my Hunter's Ridge series will be hopefully played tomorrow.
Excellent.
That's awesome. Oh, there's Keisha. Okay. Hey, Keisha.
I keep meaning to do that. I've got that one ad that is entirely too long that Nick's been playing. I want to shorten it down and make it something a little bit more punchy.
Yeah.
Instead of punch drunk.
Well, if anybody can do it, it's you. So.
Yeah. But sometimes a long ad helps a broadcaster because they may have to go somewhere for a little while
down the hall.
Yeah, he can't play like the album version of Inagata Davida.
No,
he'll get a copyright strike for it. So
well,
Well, I mean, I've got album versions of stuff he won't get a copyright strike for if he's really, had the Montezuma's Revenge or something.
Yes, Don, exactly that.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've got our pod catheters in, so yeah,
Yes.
we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Thanks for worrying about us.
I'll just go down the hall. I'm sorry, I ain't got a bucket down here.
Dan's like, no, I'm out.
Or just spread kitty litter under your chair. That's worked for me for years.
I nearly needed it just now when I didn't know that charcoal was behind my computer monitor. And she popped out, and I'm like, ah!
That'll leave a spot on the seat. Yeah.
Suddenly, when you see sparks coming up in front of Carl, you'll know what happened.
Yeah, or something goes blank.
Yeah.
The cord got pulled. Whoops.
Oops. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Well, I want to piggyback real fast on something Michaela said. I will also be at QuadCon the same weekend, and so all you dudes out there, let me talk to the guys. You want something to impress your ladies with. You need some role models. Like Santa Stein, Volcana. You need some of that cool stuff. You get Michaela's first. That's okay. But then bring your credit card to me. I'll give it back when I'm done, I promise. So
I like
won't take but a week or two.
Yeah. There's only a couple stores at the Northwoods Mall, which, by the way, that's Northwood Mall in Peoria, Illinois at, let's see.
Is it on War Memorial Drive?
Northwoods Mall at 2200 West War Memorial Drive.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what road they said it was on, but it's War Drive. It's off of War Drive.
Yeah, and I've used to have business like there is a War Memorial Drive there. There's like a Veterans Parkway in Bloomington, and there's a Veterans Parkway here in Lafayette. So I frequently get them all mixed up.
Technically, you can come off of 74, the interstate that runs past it. You can come off of it on War Drive or on Sterling, and you're basically coming on one side or the other of the mall.
Yeah, that's true. And
so it depends on which way you're coming from as to which way the mall is actually on.
True. And if you're coming in on 24, State Route 24, like I sometimes do, because it's a very mellow drive, you stay on there instead of going south when the Route 24 turns. You go on 150, continue to go straight, but it's on 150, and it takes you within a baseball's throw of the mall.
Yeah. Yay, Molly! Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Well, Molly, that's how I started. I went over there about 3 years ago to see Michaela. Yeah. And now I'm part of it. So, Molly, look for us. We look forward to seeing you.
Heck yeah. Keisha, did you get in? I'm not sure if Keisha wanted to even be a part of it because with her family life going on and stuff.
Yeah. Looks like Amy's on her way.
Hook up with Dawn, Molly. You guys can hang out.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
My next show was supposed to be LibertyCon in late June, but we're not going to be able to make that one. So the next convention I'll go to will be Helicon. So save your nickels and dimes, folks. I don't know that I'm going to have any stock to sell because the Spaceport Bar book has yet to be reissued. It is currently out of print, although Amazon seems to think you can still get copies, but I hesitate to think of what they're charging for them because these are copies that have already been printed and distributed. So somebody is selling them secondhand, and I don't know what they think my stuff is worth, but it's certainly a whole lot more than what I think it is.
That's this one. Right now, you can only get this one from me or someone that is selling it secondhand from wherever they got it.
Yeah, there are companies that regularly buy copies of our books just to have them. I've got a book called Conflict, which is a real thin book. It's a quick read. I sell it for $7.50 on Amazon. There's two companies that have stocked up on it, and they're selling them for like what was it? Last time I looked, it was $58 a piece.
Yeah.
If they can get it, I can get you more, guys. Come talk to me. I'll give you a discount. Just half your suggested retail price. We're all good. I'll even eat the postage.
Yeah,
right. And that's something I guess.
I wish that Amazon would actually link to Lulu so that they could put the actual price of print copies of the Flash of Aphelion
Yes, Don.
anthology, because that's got like 76,000 words in it,
Yeah.
and 1,000 of them are mine, but my name's on the cover because I'm the publisher of the e-zine.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking that Secret, because it was my first book, and when I submitted it to the publisher, it was 110,000 words. I thought it was like a 75,000 word book. Oh no, I got into the script and am reworking it. It's at like 86,000 words. Like, well, okay.
Well, the thing is, Amazon's got these links for people selling it, but it's not Lulu. So they're wanting $60, $150, $200, and I'm going, what do you think this is? Go to Lulu and get it. It's cheaper than
that's
that.
the thing. Like, so if someone will buy my book off of eBay for $33 from Eagle Resort Books, I just keep thinking, you'll pay $33 for a book that I can get you for 20.
People are lazy. People want one
They
stop
are.
shopping.
They just they see what they want when they want it, and bam, they get it.
Yeah.
Like,
which means we're charging too little for our books.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, well, if you'll pay $33 for the paperback, okay.
Yeah, I'll charge $30. You'll think you're getting a deal.
Yeah.
I would be afraid of actually being able to sell a book to one person for $150 a copy, and I'm going, y'all got an inflated opinion of my worth, but I'll take your money.
That's
right. That's me. I'm like, you know what? I'll take it, but that's odd to my way of thinking.
Yeah, really.
Well, and you have to wonder how many they really sell. I mean, at those inflated prices.
But one every once in a while is enough.
Yeah, it works, I guess. Yeah. Keeps them in business.
Right. Yeah, something else that's going on in the writer/reader world is the Amazon Kindle Unlimited program.
Yes.
People are boycotting it.
Really?
Why?
Yes. Well, because the readers have found out that Amazon is screwing over the writers, and the writers aren't being paid accordingly.
Okay.
So the readers, in an effort to help the writers, have gone, okay, forget it. We'll just boycott Kindle Unlimited, and we'll just buy the book, even the ebook, separately, which sounds like a great idea. Except for the writers that are actually making money on Kindle Unlimited.
Oh, yeah.
And so those writers are like, guys, wait, no, hang on. Like, this is how I make my money. Please don't leave. Please don't boycott it.
Yeah.
Well, here's another thing, and I just learned this like 2 days ago. Kindle is revamping their return policies.
Yes.
So that they are becoming more equitable for the publisher/writer. Yes. In that it's all involved about how much of a book you read. Like there were people for a while who were speed readers, and they could read a whole book in like an hour or two. Then they just return it, and the writer is like SOL. That means sort of out of luck, people. Anyway, I'm trying to say the episode, but no, it's but now if you do something like that, it will count as you having purchased the book. Period.
Yes,
and you cannot return it then.
Good.
What was the other thing they were talking about?
And I think there's a certain percentage that if you read that certain percentage, you cross that line, then you you can't return the book.
10%, I think is what it was.
Wow.
And somebody said, well, that's an awful lot, but it's better than, they read the whole dang book and they still got to return it.
Yeah. Now they were just tying up the policy about how long you have a book, because there were some people that had books for years, and then and I think they've tightened it up a little. I could be wrong, but they might have the book for 5 years, and then Kindle, they say, well, I won't read it after all. Here you go, Kindle, give me my money back. Yeah. And I think they're going to tighten up on that too if they haven't.
Yeah, I think they are. I think it is.
So it's getting better. It is getting better.
You try to return it, but again, Like, you bought the dang thing. Why are you trying to return it? Is $5 or $6 really going to help you out? Like,
yeah.
Well, they're doing that over many authors, I imagine.
Oh yeah. And that's the hiccup there was also, so let's say the reader returns the book for $3. Okay, they get the $3 back. Well, the author then has to pay the $3 plus processing.
Mm-hmm.
So not only is the writer out the money, they are out plus the money.
Exactly.
So the authors were getting hit double. So then a lot of them were like, well, then I can't afford to do business. I guess I'm not going to write any more stories. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the backlash from the readers saying, well, this person started the series but never finished the series. I wonder why.
Mm-hmm. And they probably don't know the background stuff.
No, and a lot of readers don't, you know.
Yeah.
You just want to read a good story, and you find one, and you're like, okay, I read it. You know, that's it. That's the extent of the readers, a lot of them.
Right.
I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around the concept of read a book and sell it back, return it to what is basically the bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going, this is some real new age stuff going on here.
Yeah.
Well, and then you can throw out the argument that, well, the only books that get pirated are ebooks. So don't offer ebooks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a big portion of book sales these days.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And I'm sorry, but the books that get pirated are anything that can be scanned as well as ebooks.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, there are programs.
I have seen plenty of things out there that are just somebody ran a library book through a scanner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then started selling it as if it were theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the only thing they didn't do is copy and paste their name on the cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's basically that kind of pirating is I don't know, you need a special name for that, maybe illegal publishing.
Yeah.
That's a definite copyright violation right there, because that's doing the original publishers out of the money plus the writer.
There's also something going around right now about Amazon Kindle, I guess, has found authors' books that are on pirated sites.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they take the author's account down because it's on the pirated site. And if they're in Kindle Unlimited, you're not allowed to put it anywhere but Amazon. And so then these authors have to fight to say, that's a pirate site, ding dong.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my, cease and desist letter that I sent them.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking down my account because someone pirated my book. Like, what the? So they've had to fight this way. And it's like, you're not making it easy.
No, and that's the thing. Neil Gaiman about 5 years ago had a really good article on his blog about piracy, and he said that in his study that a lot of the piracy, yes, a lot of it goes on in our world, but a lot of it also goes to countries that don't have the access to literature that we do.
Mm-hmm.
They might be in Mumbai, they might be in India, they might be someplace Afghanistan, that they can't get this stuff. Right. And this is the only way they can get it is through the pirating sites. And Neil Gaiman had a good thing that kind of changed my mind about pirating. And that's don't worry about being ripped off. Worry about obscurity.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep, writing. And he said that it's a small percentage, but there are people that will sample your work and then say, okay, I want to pick up the legit copies to make sure my guy keeps or gal keeps working on the stuff that I'm enjoying. And granted, that's probably a very small percentage. But I remember the first time I found myself on Pirate Bay. Oh my God, I was so proud. I was like, I'm finally worth ripping off. It was a boost to my ego. I couldn't decide whether to send him a digital rights management letter or send him a Christmas card. I wasn't real sure. So, and as it is, I'm still on about a dozen different Russian sites, and Russia doesn't give a damn about our copyrights anyway.
Right.
So. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you close one down, there's 20 more takes its place.
If you look at it, like if somebody buys a book, one of your books, and then they loan it to a friend, you don't get paid for that either. Is that piracy? No, but it
Right.
might get you another reader if you're good,
Or
that makes me happy.
It might, but
too.
most of my friends won't give the book back, so the original purchaser is out of his copy of my book. So now they got to go back and buy another one if they're the kind of person that reads something more than once.
No kidding, Molly. Yeah, I hear you.
It took me a few years too, but boy, I was just like, I just
Well,
wanted to
and
kiss
so
the
here's the
mirror.
other thing: you send the cease and desist letter,
Yeah.
and it's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
You got to send it again and send it again, and then before you know it, your day is over, and you've not written the thing or promoted your books at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we could spend all our time getting our books off the pirate sites, or we could spend our day writing books that make us money.
Right. And it's the thing, it's like, I'm not going to say I know all about this from firsthand experience, mind you, but like, let's say Michaela uploads my book onto a pirate site, and I send the digital rights management letter. They take it down. Well, then Carl sends it in. And I have to do it all over again. And then Dan and Donna and Molly and everybody then send in their versions of it. So I've still got like 20 versions of my file there, because they don't look at what each other does or they don't know. And so it's like Michaela said, you just wind up just spinning your wheels. It's not doing you any good. It's not stopping anyone from stealing your stuff. And so I say, I've got better things to do. I'll just create more stuff and they can rip it off all they want, And it gets harder for these pirate sites anyway as time goes on.
It is. And there's lawsuits happening.
Yeah.
I did the figures once on one site with a statement under one book that said it was downloaded over 10,000 times. I figured I'd lost close to $3,000.
Well, that's significant, I would say. But nobody likes me, Linda, is the thing.
But I would offer one more piece there, is that those folks probably wouldn't have bought it anyway.
Well,
like Brian was saying, they're in some country where they don't have it, or they're people that are so cheap that they're not going to buy it anyway.
Oh yeah.
So you really would not have made those 3,000 sales.
You think that, but according to Susan Tisdale, they have done research that no, these are doctors, these are lawyers, these are people that could afford the book.
Yeah.
Well, but they wouldn't buy it.
But they won't buy them because they found these pirate sites and they can get them for free, so they're going to.
Information wants to be free.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that too.
Free. Yeah.
Yes, I've had that argument with close friends at times.
Yeah, no kidding, Rich. Yeah, Gaiman doesn't even notice if somebody steals his books. I mean, it's still wrong. I'm not saying it's not, but Gaiman doesn't notice it the way we do.
Yeah, and just because he doesn't make it any more or less wrong, and it doesn't make it any more or less better for any of us. Just because he makes more than we do, and God bless him, he's also been in it longer than most of us.
Right. And he'll tell you himself. He started out, on his coffee table.
Oh yeah.
Like Stephen King, same way. And he threw some of his stuff away because he thought it was crap.
Yeah.
Well, and my wife has a story she's fond of telling me about when I get discouraged. Is his wife went through the trash can and got it back out and made him rewrite it one more time.
Yeah. We have a new guest.
We do.
Who we got?
Who
we got?
Linda Jackson.
Amy's
I know her. Hi, Amy.
We are waiting. I don't know if you were watching the show.
Why is there suddenly a Pure Prairie League song going through my head?
Dan, start taking the drugs again, please.
They're
are you
too
sharing?
Expensive.
Yeah, right.
Like, why are you not sharing?
Yeah, brings up the whole class. Hi, Amy.
That's right. Hey guys, how are you?
Okay.
How are you?
We
That's
are
the better
just
question.
The breeze at the moment, trying to keep it, not green room.
Yeah.
I'll be going then.
Okay.
Brian's like, I don't want to be here then. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we're doing okay.
Good.
We are. We're doing okay. Thanks to all you amazing people.
Hey, we try.
I'm telling you, just what you've managed to do so far has made such a big difference for us already.
That's what friends are for.
I was going to say, did I hear that you are writing again?
Sort of.
Good.
I have the itch again. I haven't really got much done, but I'm getting there.
Good.
I've just gotta, time. There's not enough time, and all that good stuff that
yes,
I had before, working full time for someone other than me.
But at least having the itch, you can't get anything done without that.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, can't do squat without that.
Yeah,
I love your background, Dan.
Oh, thank you. That is actually my front yard, and I put the TARDIS in there where I want to rebuild the well house so that it looks like a TARDIS.
That would be awesome.
Yep,
that would be awesome.
Unfortunately, I live in one of those S curves in an old country road. So, if I show something out there that has police box and a little flashing light on top, I'm going to get even more wrecks in the yard.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Because there's going to be somebody trying to put their clothes back on and hide the booze and look around for the roadblock and not pay attention to that next curve in the road.
Yeah.
You better pay attention to that next one because it's got rocks, big rocks.
Yeah.
You go flying off that embankment, you're going to do some major damage to that vehicle.
No kidding.
Might be fun to watch, though. I mean, you might want to just set a camera up.
Actually, I have seen it happen when my desk was a little bit closer to the window. I heard somebody just roaring their engine outside one day, and I looked out, and there's a car going sideways past my mailbox.
Oh my gosh!
And then I heard the crash, and about 50 yards past my driveway into the neighbor's yard, they had finally went off the curve and flew down a 12-foot embankment.
Oh wow! Yeah,
and hit a big pile of granite rocks that are foothills of Stone Mountain. That totaled out that car, and it was a carload of teenagers, and thankfully, none of them were badly injured. I don't think anybody had so much as a broken bone, but there were lots of bruises and scrapes and things.
And hopefully a good lesson learned.
No kidding.
Well,
I hope so. It was their mama's car that she had just bought the day before.
Oh, Lord. They didn't die in the wreck. Mama's going to kill them.
I searched the obituary column in the paper for the next 2-3 weeks, but I didn't find any mention of them.
Well, first they have to find the bodies.
Well, somebody got to report it. That's all around here.
Well, yeah,
we all know who did it. It just
yeah. That's the way it is here. Everybody knows everybody. So I've got some signings coming up. What do you guys got planned?
Well, let's see.
Yeah, see, that's what I have to do. I have a book.
I've got to look at my list because I forget.
Yeah, I've got QuadCon with Michaela.
Yep.
April, on the 1st, I'm at the SI Comic Con in Benton, Illinois, at the Benton Civic Center, 414 Huddleston Street. Then 21st and 22nd and 3rd, I am at the Windy City Pulp and Paper Convention at the West Lombard Yorktown Center, 70 Yorktown Shopping Center Road. That's right, kids. Keep address books. Then I'm going to be on Free Comic Book Day, May 6th. I'm going to be at Castle Perilous at 207 West Main in Carbondale, Illinois. Then June, I'm at the Pulp Fiction Convention in Westlake, Ohio. Indie Author Book Expo at the Peoria Civic Center, June 24th. Then I've got 2 months off inexplicably. Then Silicon will be September 15th and 16th at the Village Square Mall in Effingham, Illinois, new location. Come see us. Ooh. And then September 23rd, I'll be at the Hoosier Indie Author Book Fair in Gas City, Indiana. real close to where Jim Davis created Garfield. And then in November, I've got the Indie Author Book Expo at the Iowa State Fairgrounds in Des Moines, Iowa.
Nice. So do you try and make it so you have one every month?
Well, it used to be I had one every weekend.
Yeah.
When I was really starting to establish myself. And in recent years, I realized how much time that takes me away from the keyboard. And so really I am trying now to do 2 a month. And if I get 1 a month, that's perfect. And I've got like one part where I've got like 2 months off in a row, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Because because this way I can build up my online presence a little bit more. And hopefully, because the thing is, I realized the other day I have an 8-state reach now, thanks to Calgon.
Yeah.
So it's like this doesn't even count a couple of writer events that I'm doing. That kind of like author, not for sales but for learning. So I've got a couple of those, but it's just the sheer time it takes to get to one venue. And then home again. Even close ones for me now are 3 hours away. So that's you figure going out there and going back plus the time at the show. That's one day I'm down and I can't do any writing really. And I'm not going to be one of those writers that sits there at my booth and doesn't
my God,
care.
no.
And we could do a whole show on show etiquette when you're a writer.
Show etiquette, booth etiquette, yes, good.
Yeah. So, but that's my whole thing. But my goal is to sell more at the shows I do, because when I first started out, especially, I would get people who were like, "Well, I see you every year, so I'll get you next year," which they don't do, by the way. And so I just said, "Okay, fine. I'm not going to be here next year."
Yeah.
And so, you either get it now or you get it from Amazon.
That, like, why would you tie yourself down to the same show every year?
I will do it if I like the promoter or it does really well for me. Because like we're going to be at Heroes for Kids. That's one I forgot to put in my book, Heroes for Kids.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there too.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that. A whole bunch of us will be doing that because we like the charitable aspect of the show, if nothing else. Plus,
there's just some shows, like you said, some shows aren't about selling books. They're about networking or learning.
Yeah.
Or just relaxing and having a family reunion type thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. We signed up for SilCon
books. That's great. Good.
Right.
We have not signed up for them yet, but we are going to SilCon.
Oh, good. Good.
I will be at SilCon this year.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
Now, Amy, you live down by the Superman celebration, so are you going to be there too?
I'm not signed up to like do anything, but we usually go and hang out.
Okay.
We did okay. We've been there. We worked it 1 year and we did okay, but it was, I don't know. There was a lot that year.
I was going to say, was that the years that the air conditioner didn't work?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was also the year I went home with COVID.
That.
Yes,
I remember that.
And that's not the Superman celebration's fault by any means. I mean, it could have been anywhere. Yeah. But, that's one of those things that every time now that I see Superman celebration, that's the first thing I think of.
Oh, no.
It's just like, But I love going. I mean, like we went and walked around last year. We just didn't set up.
But yes, Dawn, like Deadwood. Yes. Deadwood isn't one that I go into expecting to sell a lot. And I don't know if that's because I've only been there as an author 1 year and like my fan base isn't built up out there yet. But for me, there's classes, there's things to learn, there's people to network with that I want to network with. So Deadwood for me is more of a fun thing. Let's go, let's have a good time, let's meet some new people. If I sell books, great.
Yeah.
That's not the... Well, and I don't want readers to think that like we're in this for selling books. We are, but we're not. There's that balance of I'm not going to tell you have to buy my book to talk to me. You know,
Oh, Lord, no.
I'm not going to tell you that if you walk up to my table, I'm going to push you to buy one of my books. Yeah. You know, walk up and talk to me. Mm-hmm. You know, if you buy a book, great. If not, fine. Mm-hmm. You know, so I don't want it to seem like, well, I go to that show because I make lots and lots of money, you know, or I'm not going to go to that show because I don't make any money. It's not why.
Yeah. And it really depends. Like, if it's really expensive to go, then you hope you make some, you know. But...
My aim at going to a convention is to have as many interesting conversations as I can, and hopefully be interesting enough myself that people go, hey, I like talking to him. Let's see what he writes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you can't be famous if nobody knows who you are. So you have to know people.
Good point.
That's true.
It's my whole goal. Either they're going to get really tired of me like the lady on the car commercials, or they're going to buy my books.
And if you're rude, it will count against you.
It will.
Yeah. Like I used to read just about every book put out by this author named Timothy. And he was rude at one convention, and I haven't bought one of his books since because I found out what he was really like. And that's
my biggest one is Christine Feehan. If I meet her in person, I don't know if I want to meet her in person. I've heard she's great, but I don't know if I want to take down that veil.
Yeah. It's that whole never meet your heroes thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Go ahead, Dan.
There was one writer that I was extremely fond of, and he has since shuffled off this mortal coil. And I got to know him through emails and some of his online stuff that wasn't connected with his books, more politics and whatnot, and got to know him a little bit better. And I'm going, you know, if I'd known this before I ever bought your first book, I probably wouldn't have bought your first book, but I like the way you write. I'm going to let you slide. We started off being politically very closely aligned, but then there's these, you know, in chemistry, how you have these side groups that hang on to molecules that change them into something totally different. Mm-hmm. He had several side groups, so interesting guy. I miss him. I really miss being able to buy his stuff or email him and just go, "Hey, I love this." And I was actually part of a small group of people that were personally responsible for sending him fan mail about some of his essays on American politics that got that book published because his publisher wasn't going to touch it. Mm-hmm. But he had enough fans write in to him. He's able to take a sheaf of printouts and go, these folks want one.
Yeah.
Put it out there. I've got a copy over there. Never did get anything signed because he was, 3/4 of the way across the country from me. But sometimes you do have to take people with a grain of salt.
Right.
Sometimes you need the entire Great Salt Lake Desert of Utah.
Yeah.
Well, and if the writer that he's talking about is the one I'm thinking of, he's a native Illinoisan, lived about 40 miles from where we are.
I know what you're talking about.
Moved out of Illinois, and after that, treated Illinoisans worse than redheaded stepchildren. Mm-hmm. It's like he didn't even want to admit that he'd ever lived here, that Illinois even still exists. And when he had to come back for a con in Illinois, he kind of wasn't happy about that.
Yeah. Good. It wasn't just a bad day; it was a whole con. He was.
Well,
this fellow was based near Denver, so his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'd been to Illinois unless he went to a con there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had some really bad days during cons, and There's been times I haven't felt good. There's been times I had other stuff going on. It's still not an excuse to be rude.
No, you don't want to take it out on the people on the other side of the table.
I mean, I have smiled and talked to people, and there's times when I've smiled and talked to them and then apologized, said sorry. I'm kind of off today. So if I don't seem like I'm thrilled, I apologize. I'm just kind of off, or I don't feel good or whatever, but I am honestly more than happy to chat with you as long as you want. Let's, I just let people know that I'm off on that day for whatever reason.
Right.
And, people understand that because they have bad days too. But if you're just snippy and short and grouchy and that leaves a really long lasting, terrible taste in their mouth.
Yes.
Yeah. And
it gets around.
Yeah. And also the same, you talk about, us being rude on our side of the table. I did a show some time ago where I was warned that one of the other vendors liked to wait until they saw you had people there. Then they would come over and physically grab the person and say, I've got books at my table, and pull them away.
I've seen that happen.
Well, I have too. And we all know I killed one.
Brian's experienced it. Yes.
Brian's has experienced this. Well, this person did it at my table. And I was having a lovely conversation. So this other author comes up and goes, oh, I've got some books. And I go, hey, that's nice. And I just ignored her. I just blew her off. And she's like,
it's just rude.
Yeah. So I figure I'll just fire one shot 6 inches below the water line and we're done. And I was asked to report her if she tried that. And I said to the promoter, yes, she did. But I stopped it. So she didn't really do it. And said, well, you were the only one then. You managed to shut her down. Yeah. She will not be back at this show. And that's another thing. The promoters talk. They talk to each other.
Yes, they do. And Brian, you are an exceptionally accurate gunner. So that shot 6 inches below the waterline probably hit a vital part of the ship. So.
It did. It sank hers pretty good.
But Brian has told that story before, and it resonated with me because I thought that's setting boundaries is all that is. It's not rude. Yeah. It's not out of line. It's setting boundaries.
Yeah.
And then I had that very almost exact thing happen when my daughter had her farmer market stand. She's in a conversation with a customer about some plants. They're talking back and forth. Everything's fine. The girl at the next booth over is selling something like solar panels. So something completely different. And they have these free shopping bags that they're giving away to everybody that walks by their booth. Now, my daughter and this customer are in her booth. This girl comes from her booth over to our booth and waves a bag in this lady's face. Do you want a bag? Do you want a bag?
Wow.
I was this close to taking her by the shoulders and removing her. But I didn't touch her. I just stepped in the way. And I said, you need to go back to your booth. And then I took her over there and I explained it. But when I turned around, the damage was already done.
Yeah.
The lady that was talking to my daughter walked off because she felt so uncomfortable. Yeah. My daughter was about in tears. So then I went back over. And I explained very politely that was rude. And then if she pulled the stunt again, I would have her thrown out of the market. And she, I guess, was the helper. Well, the guy that actually ran the booth and ran the company, he come back over and he's like, why are you sitting? What happened? And she, you could tell she was telling him the story. And he looks over and he goes, you shouldn't have done it. Like,
good.
Duh.
Yeah.
You really.
I love a story with a happy ending.
Yeah, there is such a thing as vendor etiquette.
Yeah, there really is.
And it really needs to be more widely disseminated.
Yeah.
But the people it needs to be most vehemently disseminated to aren't going to listen in the first place.
They're the ones that don't pay attention and don't care usually.
Kelly has
but
a question.
I mean, I get like the people that play really loud videos and music at the table next to you.
Yeah.
And you're
That's
like,
a very good question.
I can't even talk to the person in front of me because all I can hear is whatever's going on over here, and it's distracting and it's rude, you know. And I haven't had that too many times, but I've had it enough that I've had to actually say, could you just turn it down a little bit? It would be helpful.
Yep. Same here. Same here.
Yeah.
That's a good question from Kelly.
Yeah.
Linda has a good
Linda's got one good answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hear Linda's.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's not your cup of tea, but you know, you're welcome to keep walking.
Yeah.
Like it would depend on how they came at me. Like if they came at me like that girl did, I had that urge to just take her by the shoulders and walk her over there. You know.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just smile and you just, you know, and you, in your head you call them up every name you want to call them, but you just smile and say, well, I'm sorry that this doesn't fit what your tastes or whatever.
And don't take the attack personally.
No.
No. That's the first thing you never do.
Yeah, because there aren't. Now, if they're like, now there are some, at least online especially, that are like, they come after you. You know, you're a terrible person because you wrote this, or you're a terrible writer, and blah. You know, they're not attacking the work; they're attacking you personally. Right. And with that, and while I've not had that to my face, and I don't actually know how well that would end, especially if my husband was with me.
Yeah, mine read missed the memory.
Yeah, somebody would be eating a knuckle sandwich, I'm sure. Online, people, say that kind of stuff all the time, and you have to just block and move on.
And then there's the other end of that spectrum where they really hate your work, but they're not complete jerks about it.
Yeah.
And you wind up later on run into them again someplace else at the convention, maybe at the con suite or whatever, and you start a conversation, and basically, you might turn them around, or you might understand what their problem is.
Yeah.
And you keep them from leaving with a worse impression of you than they previously had.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's rare. That's rare. But I mean, most people, they wind up making up their minds before they ever meet you. And there's not much you can do to change it.
Yeah.
Some people are actually able to change their mind.
Yeah.
If someone came up to me and said, I don't like your work, and I'd have to say, first of all, thank you for buying my work and having read it. Didn't know you'd done that. And if they said, well, I haven't read your book, then I'd say, well, then you're judging before you read it. Here's a copy. That'll be $5. Whatever.
Yes.
You think you hate me now? Hell, wait to read this.
You can't
criticize it, you better read it.
And that's half what I charge the people that do like my stuff. So,
and if you've read it and you have a criticism, listen
for bail money.
I will listen.
You can do a lot of things, but insult me to my face or be rude to me is one thing my husband does not put up with.
Right. Yeah, if they're insulting you as a person.
Yeah.
If they're saying something about your work.
Oh, yeah. If they don't like my work, he knows I don't care. But if they were actually like being mean and insulting to me, that would be a whole other story.
And having come from the scientific community, I would say to that person too, why don't you write your version of it?
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. Somebody does a physics experiment and they get this result. Someone else is supposed to try to redo the experiment and see if they get the same result.
Yeah.
Well, let's see your book. Oh, you don't have one. I see.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, you need to write that. Go, sir. Go now.
Yeah.
Well, I've also gotten people I shouldn't say people. There is one person who is notorious in a certain area of the country that he shows up and he's got he's one of those guys that has his own religion. And they could the whole congregation could meet in a phone booth. Okay. But it's like he's the guy that sees offenses to his religion in everything you do. For somebody like that, I'm not afraid to say, hey, excuse me a minute, and then find the organizer or security and say, I need that person out of here.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that girl next to me that was interrupting, you should go talk to her.
Yeah, really. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Talk to that lady with the sour grapes face over there. She
Yeah,
might
right
love
next
to
to
hear
her.
what you've got to
Oh,
say.
she wants to know all about this.
Her solar
I
panel.
have done it with somebody that let's say I've killed them in a story. I did that a couple times. Oh no, you want that? You need to talk to. So
I know
anyway,
what we're talking about.
Hey, that lady with the solar panels, she's stealing the energy from the sun.
Yeah.
That's against nature. You better talk.
Okay.
I hear they don't work at night.
What were you going to say, Donna?
I was going to tell Molly that Linda had a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Molly is way too nice, but you can still be nice and polite and say, "Excuse me, just a minute. This person wants to talk to me."
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or
I've done that several times.
It's almost like you could look up etiquette, like an etiquette on Google, like Google proper etiquette. It just not everybody can do it. Not everybody has the tact to say in a nice way, "Go, I'm done with you." But there's got to be a way, and I'm not great at it, so I have to look this stuff up. I have to literally. You might see me at a con with my phone in the hand. I'm looking something up. I'm not reading something. I'm not playing a game. I'm looking something up.
Yeah, and I'm a lot less tolerant of etiquette violations from other dealers.
Yeah,
I figure they should know it.
They should know better.
So
yeah, they should. They should. Definitely.
What? Okay, I got a 1-star rating from a woman who is a Christian romance novelist who had utter disgust for my pulp book. Oh yeah. No, don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Somehow she got a hold of your book. She should not have. Obviously, it's just a thing.
Hey, a rating.
Kelly, have you heard about the 1-star review I got because I used the word crap?
Yeah.
Oh, have I got a story for that person?
But a rating.
And that's what's funny. Go ahead, Carl.
Well, I was going to say, even a 1-star is something for the algorithms. It's something.
And it actually gives your book. It gives your book legitimacy.
Yep.
Because when it says all 5 stars, a lot of people automatically assume you've bought reviews. So having a variety is actually a good thing for your book.
And people can see through that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they can when it's something petty like that. Because I know I had people come up to me and go, "Why is she complaining about crap?" And I'm like, "I know there are so many other things in that book that could offend her."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's picking on that word.
I actually had one guy sit down and do a word search on an online copy of an early story, and he was just highly upset of the number of cuss words were in there. And the thing is, the part that he was the most upset about was actually one of the characters was in the middle of having a nervous breakdown.
Oh, okay.
And that was one chapter I drew from life witnessing that exact thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Molly, you got prayed over for bad words. I can't imagine what that person would have done reading some of mine.
Yeah.
That's when you go, well, you didn't like that. I wrote well. You should hear that.
Ryan's dropping the F-bombs.
Wow.
I'm going to tell a secret. I have a bracelet that I wear to show sometime that's in Morse code.
Yes.
The Morse code says you.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm just sitting here like,
it's Morse code.
Every when you spell it out, it's Morse code.
It's one of my favorite bracelets, actually.
Yes,
really.
But if you read my stuff, if you know my brand, you appreciate it.
Yes.
You don't know what it is, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And if they get offended by the bracelet, it means they're educated.
That's right.
And then, offended, and they probably don't want to read my stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and then Kelly, you probably will, because we all probably will at some point.
Oh yeah.
It's just
it's inevitable. It's like getting online trolls. They're going to be there.
Right.
The difference, though, Kelly.
Yeah, go ahead, Amy.
No, I just say the difference is usually if they're like in your face instead of online, they're usually not the same.
Right.
Most people don't have the gonads to say to your face what they're going to say to you online.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Now, isn't Kelly one of the cosplayers?
Yes.
Okay, Kelly, here's some advice. You get a book troll in front of you. You cosplay that you're Aunt Donna.
Oh.
No, we want them to live, Donna. We want them to live.
but the odds of you meeting another book troll are less than the Chatty Cathy types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are going to be your main problem. People that want to stand there and talk to you all day. And Brian has a good one for that. He says, "Come over here and sit beside me," which I did.
I'll teach you to complain, Carl.
Yeah. And you wound up with 2 books out of it so far and working on a 3rd.
Yeah.
I
mean,
Brian moves in mysterious ways.
Brian moves. I mean, you could end up with, you'll also have people that will stand there and tell you that their book ideas.
Oh, God, that's the worst.
And they'll want to tell you every detail. And usually what I've learned to tell them, if that happens, because if they find out, it tends to happen, is just, oh, no, don't, I don't want to get your ideas mixed with mine. Make sure, keep your ideas to yourself and written down, because that could be the next big thing. And, you don't want to give your ideas away.
You're giving me a bunch of steal that.
Another thing is, if you have a little notebook on the table, which we normally do, as they're telling you their idea, you flip the notebook open and start writing stuff. And they'll be like,
hold on.
Yeah,
really? Is that with 2 L's or 1?
Yeah. They'll back away and leave, and you're fine.
I usually just say, "Look, I've got my own stuff I need to write. I'm kind of elderly. I'd like to get this finished before I die." You write your own stuff your own way, because it's your idea. It belongs to you. Don't, somebody will think that I came up with it, and they won't give you the credit, if you want to be nice, or they'll blame me because it sucks. I mean,
if you don't want to be sued.
If you don't want to be nice.
The question here is very good. The one thing I would change is I would bring back promotional monies that they used to spend to promote works, because that doesn't happen now. Even for the best writers, they don't. The folks that are actually making money, they don't get promoted.
When was the last time on your television you saw a TV commercial for a book? When was the last time?
It's been years. And it's usually for somebody that you buy their book anyway.
The last one I saw was probably for Danielle Steele.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Danielle Steele, John Grisham. I think that was the last one I saw, was a John Grisham, and I thought, that's a book. Why is it on TV?
Yeah.
But they direct competition with TV. We'll wait for the movie.
Yes.
So that's one thing I would change right there. I would bring back those advertising budgets, get those books out there for more people.
And what I would change is I want more independent authors to understand, one, you are not a one-man show, and you need to have other people edit your books and do your covers, because that frees you up for other things. And 2, I would change this going along with Carl's idea about promotion, that the days when a publisher will promote somebody at the bottom of the catalog, those days are over, and they have been for ages. So everyone needs to learn to promote themselves and to come up with ways to promote themselves, and preferably one that helps other authors. Because I'm going to throw an example out that I hadn't even heard of Brandon Sanderson till about 6 months ago. And then he had that Kickstarter campaign that was just like raking in the money, and I thought, well, this sounds pretty good. This, I'm not interested in getting in on, but here's what's turning around on the guy, and you talk about liking somebody and maybe wanting to support their work. I was watching a live broadcast that Sanderson was doing with his team. Of course, he's got a team. Mine's asleep in the other room. But anyway, the idea was he got on there and he was looking up on Kickstarter other books that were like real close to getting funded. He would pledge to their books.
Yeah. Good for him.
And bring them across the line. And there were some people that he liked. There were some that he liked the sound of it, but they didn't get anything. And maybe they'd been going for a week. He just went ahead and funded them. And there's an idea of rising tide and giving back to the community. That's what more authors need to do. Seriously, and the people in this room
met him
know
a couple of times. He is a nice guy.
Yeah.
Or at least he has always been a nice guy to me. He may not be a nice guy to everybody, but I would make it upset him.
I would make it easier for indies to get into the big bookstores instead of all the stuff that you have to go through.
Yeah.
And conventions.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting more accepted now because let's face it, it's getting bigger. But and also maybe so that the whole industry is like our rising tide group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Amen.
You got some other questions over there too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think if I could change anything, I think it would be maybe not so much about the industry, but about the mindset of some of the indie authors who believe this is a throw out what you can and get rich quick scheme.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because John and I were just talking about this actually about, I mean, some people can self-edit, some people can design their own covers, some people can do a lot of these things, but you really do, for the sake of the entire community, want to put your best foot forward with your work. Someone recently was complaining in a group that they had been told that because they're self-published, they're not a real author, because the only reason they're self-published is because no real publisher wants them. And I think the reason that mindset continues to perpetuate is because there are a lot of people that don't care so much about the quality. They just want to chuck books out one after another and hope that they rake in the money somehow without really caring about the craft. I think caring about the craft would be something that I would want to change as far as the author side of the industry, to really care about what you're putting out there so that it looks good for all of us.
Yeah.
Agreed. Good point.
I think that if there were anything I would change about the industry, it would be that the big publishers would actually go after the vanity press that preys on people and charges them money for getting a book published, which is exactly backwards to the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Amen.
Well, and that's the thing is, if you don't know better, you don't know better.
That's true. That's true.
And that's what they're hoping.
Someone takes you by the hand and says, "This is how we're supposed to do it." You're going to think, "Well, this is how we do it, not this way, this way."
Right.
And that's what they're banking on, that you don't know that it's done any other way. You assume this is how it works. I mean, I almost fell prey to that myself when after Shadows of Jane came out. I had a place in California contact me. They wanted to buy the contract, and they wanted. I was so excited. And then I got to read it, and I thought, wait a minute, something doesn't feel right here. And I'm glad I did, because it was a total scam.
Yep.
Well, it's so many people don't know what vanity publishing versus indie publishing is. At a meeting that Carl and I were at last fall, this gal had published herself. The book looked good, but now she was wanting to get a real publisher. And she had people after the meeting come up to her and said, "Yeah, you need a real publisher instead of that vanity press." I'm like, I went to her, I said, "That's not a vanity press." And
no, that's one thing people need to learn, that nowadays the industry has changed. And independent is not vanity.
Right.
Vanity press is when
different.
You pay for everything, you do everything, and they get all the damn money, and you get a pittance.
Well,
you get a
for me,
garage for
You
a
don't
month.
even have the rights to your book by the time they're done.
Yeah,
Right.
really,
For
really.
me, I've had it both ways.
Independent's
I
totally
had the
different.
publisher, and I'm indie now. And now I don't care how good the publisher is. I would never go back.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I do it by myself, though.
No.
You're right. I mean, we need our tribe with us, because I can't design cover. I could, but they sucked. I can't design covers. I can't edit my own books, but I can edit everyone else's. Like, because I see what's in my head, not what I put on paper.
Exactly.
It's
I've
simple as
said that for years.
Even somebody that works in an office and you're writing letters to someone, you have someone else edit it because you don't see what it, all your mistakes. But no, even having a publisher, people think, oh, well, the publisher does the editing, they do, all of the in the trenches sort of stuff. All you do is write. Oh no, my friend. No. Oh no. I used to think that. I used to think you publish one book and you're a millionaire and you're famous. And I wish it worked that way, but it really doesn't. And so then you get the publisher and you're like, well, they're going to advertise the book because they want to sell the book, right? No. They advertise this much. I think the publisher I was with put it on Twitter and Facebook. One post.
Which you could do yourself.
One time.
And the major publishers, like I've said before on this show, when Penguin was trying to buy Simon & Schuster a couple of years ago, during the discovery phase of the trial, Penguin had to reveal their sales. And half of their line, the average sale was 12 books.
Yeah.
12 books. And I can guarantee everybody in this enclave here has sold more than 12 books.
I do that in one signing.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Yeah.
That's why the online to the in-person thing doesn't make sense to me. There's got to be something, and I've talked at length with a lot of my author friends on this. There is something I'm missing, and I will find it. But online, my book sales are almost nothing. In person, I can sell out of stock. Like, there's something missing. There's some key there that I'm not hitting in the algorithms.
Well, people just like you and they want to come see you and buy your books in person.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. But I would love it if we could find those online people and make them buy my books.
I think that the personal element really is a big difference. Having people who you kind of sell yourself first. And I think when you're at the in-person events, that comes across so much better than it does online. That people just they'll talk to you. The more they talk to you, the more interested they are in what you've got here. And then before you know it, they've got one of each. Where online they might be like, maybe that one. It's a very different type of sales atmosphere.
And if they've met you before or they've met you online here, like on a show like this,
right,
they're more likely to buy your book.
They feel like they know you and they want to support you.
I mean, how many of us just go on Amazon and go, oh, I think I'll buy a book today. What looks good? You don't. You go for a particular author,
or genre or story.
True.
Yep. I've run out of this guy's stories to read. Let me go buy another one.
That happens too, Rich.
Yeah. And some of us don't go to the Zon. Some of us go to Barnes and Noble.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Which is having a resurgence now.
Well, and then Books a Million. They're not in my area, but I've traveled a lot, and everywhere I go, there's a Books a Million store. I'm like, what's that? Can we stop? Let's go.
It's a great place.
We never have time.
Yeah.
You don't.
I used to spend $100 a week there. I mean, good grief. That was back before I was writing my own stuff. But
there's two things we stop for whenever we travel anywhere: cigar store, bookstore.
Yeah. Well, and when I travel, I've never made it a point to put time into travel to a bookstore. But now that my girls are older, we always do a girls trip every year. And they asked me this year, they said, are we going to do that? And I said, well, because of life, they're older now. They have their jobs. I have a job outside of the writer job. So it was like, well, can we figure this out? And can we make this happen? And they were both like, yeah, Mom, we really want to make this happen. I said, okay. And they're like, but we don't want to go shopping. Like, oh, okay. Not even at a bookstore? And both of them were like, well.
Okay, good.
Yeah, at a bookstore, yes.
Yeah, that's different. That's
How
good.
can you keep from shopping at a bookstore?
So now I think instead of
I
finding
can't even
these
walk in
roadside
the place
oddities
without
and things
buying
when
a
they were
bunch of
little,
stuff.
So when they were little, we just found roadside oddities. I think now we'll find oddball bookstores.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Our first date was at a bookstore.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I took Donna and we went to the
Not
bookstore.
the green room. Not the green room.
Oh,
Not the green
whatever.
room.
But it could be. But it could be. But it could be.
Enablers.
Use your imagination, folks. I am.
But yeah, Dawn may be onto something. It may just be that online is saturated. You know,
It's
and
very
that's what I mean,
saturated.
like,
Oh yeah.
you can go in and change your keywords. I don't know if you know this. You can go in and change your keywords anytime you want. So maybe I don't have the right keywords in. So that's something I need to go in and check and heck, change them around, see what happens. You know, I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And I've heard said you should go in like at least every 6 months and take a look at your keywords because the market can change enough.
Yeah.
Oh heck yeah.
I'm actually looking at with my Shadows trilogy changing up the covers and the blurbs.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it definitely should be doing better than it's doing, and I feel like it needs something. It needs something.
See, I like the covers of that one, and
I love the
way
covers.
The girl thing worked out.
Yeah, I really do love the covers, and that's going to be the hardest part if I change them is saying goodbye to the covers. But I'm not sure they totally fit the genre.
Oh, maybe, yeah, maybe
and
not
I think
the genre.
I think that's the problem. And you get these gorgeous covers, and you just fall in love with them, and you get excited, and then you realize like, why aren't these selling? And I'll have people walk by my table and be like, I love your covers, but I don't think they fit the expectation for that particular genre because mine's a little more urban. And I've called it paranormal romance for years, and then I just recently realized I don't think it actually fits in paranormal. I think it's more sci-fi.
It might,
Really?
yeah.
More of an urban sci-fi. So
it is though.
It is, yeah. It really isn't really. I mean, I tried when I was writing the book. I fought with it. What do I call it? Where does it fall?
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's not vampires. It's not ghosts. It's not werewolves. It's not dragons and shifters, and it's really not. It's more X-Men-ish.
Yeah.
Vibe.
Okay.
So I think it really is more sci-fi.
Yeah.
And if we change anything, also look at your back cover blurbs because we have people pick up the book and they'll turn it over, and if that does not grab their attention, that's your writing.
And I think that needs to change too, for sure. I think my blurbs need need an update. I think they need to be redone. Because they really, as much as I love the stories. I mean, there's some of my personal favorites. I've won awards for them, but I can't get people to pick them up the way I think they should be, and I think that's part of the problem. Is
that was the question I wanted to ask? Is it just me, or does everyone have trouble writing cover blurbs?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I find it like it's excruciating trying to figure out how can I summarize
100,000
100,000 words into about 50
and make someone want to read it.
There's Dante's 7 Levels of
Ryan
Hell.
And I went to journalism class.
And then there's writing a blurb.
And when you've gone to journalism class,
there's therapy for that nowadays, Carl.
Well, but if maybe if there's a journalism class around, look at that as a possible. You may not want to write for a newspaper or magazine, but you learn how to write blurbs.
Yes, you do. Yeah, especially if you're writing like for pictures.
I've got friends that write blurbs like they for pay. They'll write your blurb and they're really good at it. So I may consult some people.
That's so right, Keisha.
Yeah, it really is.
Some of my books, the blurb is like, oh yeah, this is it. Others, I'm like, how do I describe this?
Well, and here's something else that a lot of authors I see that they do, the back cover blurbs, but here's something that not a lot of them do: paragraphs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one solid block of type, and people don't want, people don't have the patience anymore to read like a solid
to separate it out.
Exactly.
Give the sections.
Well, and I find
this is the book I was talking about. These are gorgeous covers.
They are.
They are, but they don't fit the genre as well as I thought they did initially.
Or they don't say to you, this is the genre. I can look at that cover and I can know exactly what genre that is.
Okay, I'll be completely honest. I hate the shirtless men on the romance things. It's not. I mean, I love romance books. I'm good.
And she likes shirtless men.
I just don't care. I just don't care that, because they all look the same. It's some guy's bare chest from here down, and maybe some woman. It just doesn't appeal to me that way.
And usually with their face hidden.
Yeah, but that's what is expected of the genre.
Yeah,
So it's what sells. Yeah, and so that's why it's on everyone's book.
There was a like online book party thing for romance books, and so I tried to join, and the girl running it sent me a private message, and she kicked it back, and she says, "No, this isn't for fantasy; it's for romance." I'm like, it's romance. It's paranormal romance. And she's like, "Oh, well, your cover doesn't say that."
Yeah. You're like,
okay. Don't judge a book by its cover, lady.
Well, unfortunately, we have to. That's one of our selling tools,
People do, though.
Yeah.
Here you go, Amy.
Yeah, and Keisha had some. Thanks, Linda.
With you.
Keisha had a good thing earlier about the categories.
Yes.
This is something that Dale L. Roberts in his Self-Publishing with Dale on YouTube, which I highly recommend to people. Amazon is having a problem right now. Thank you, Keisha. They're having a problem right now with, we can actually have up to 10 listings, but now Amazon has got a glitch in their system, or they did have it as of 2 weeks ago, that if you have more than the 3 that you see, maybe 4 that they let you have, that Amazon kicks it out of the system. And so, but the thing is, you can have I'll give an example, and just because it's close. This is under humor. This is under horror. This is under holidays. So, you can list, if the system was working right, you could pick 7 categories. Then you can email Amazon and ask for 3 more. And then sometimes if you don't fill in those 3, Amazon will look at your keywords and your sales, and they'll put you in a category that most suits what you're doing. So.
Yeah,
but that's when you have little to no control over, unfortunately. But until they get this glitch fixed,
And I'd heard that that the readers can give their input on where they think it belongs. Yeah, and that can also change where it gets put. Because I've got friends that are like, my book's in this category. It has nothing to do with this. I don't know why it ended up there. So we're kind of fighting an uphill battle with some of that too, because just like when people can report errors and it turns out it's not an error, it's maybe a dialect choice or a style choice. But because someone in the UK doesn't like the way someone in the US or vice versa spells something, so now all of a sudden it's misspelled. There's a lot of input there.
There's shenanigans going on in the chat.
I just wanted to
come find me, Dawn. I'll help you.
Dawn, if you like Linda's covers on the Federal stories, you should really check out her Tonica series.
Yes. I love that series. Only I think because I originally liked the series, and then when Linda tweaked it and made it her own and really took it into her brand, it was like, yes, these are the stories I was waiting for. This was just what it needed, like the little bit of salt that you needed to add to your recipe that it needed.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Always promote.
Wonder why that was.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right, Kelly. Unless it's part of that glitch I mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. You
A lot of
can,
the,
Kelly, you can email Amazon and have them give you a call back. A representative will give you a call, and they are really, use honey, smother them with honey, and they will walk you through this stuff, and they will help you with anything that you need on that. Yeah, because I had to do something. I don't remember what it was, but it was just something that I could not fix as an author. But the people that called me back, because I was sweet as peaches, and I was, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, and I really need your help, and I just don't know what to do here. The lady I had on the phone was awesome. She went through and she was like, click, click here. Okay, it's done. It's there. Oh, yeah. Okay, thanks. 5 minutes later, the problem I had for a week is now gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see an earlier comment that Kelly wanted to put pulp in. I think there is a section for pulp. There's something like 700, 800 different classifications, but we don't see them all is the thing. You might contact someone at Amazon to see what your choices are, but you can also use pulp as part of your keywords. And that will, and also work that into your back cover copy, your advertising for it. So if you want to try to attract the pulp crowd, that would be the way I would do it. Also, the fact is that if they list you in mystery, thriller, sci-fi, action, whatever, that's a broader category that people might be looking for. And yeah, they're going to be, you got a lot more competition, but there's also tools you can get now. That Cookie remembers the name of it. She likes keeping me brainless but beautiful, so I don't learn this stuff and go away from the writing. But she's got a couple of programs that she can check keywords and check it versus how searchable they are. You probably know the Kindle
Rocket.
Kindle Rocket. Thank you, Amy. That's the one I was trying to think of. The Dave Chesson one. It's a great program.
It is great.
And Cookie knows how to use that, and you can look at your keywords, and it also will suggest keywords to you. So and
it will let you see where those keywords fall in relation to how much people are paying. So
and
you
how
can see,
searchable they are.
Yeah.
It's a good tool to have. So
yeah, it really is. It's a good tool.
Yeah.
KDP Rocket.
Thank you.
I know they changed the name a time or two. So exactly.
Yeah, that was my problem. I couldn't remember which name they're using currently, and plus they're working on a third one, a new one that's going to be even more, got more bells and whistles than even KDP Rocket now. So
yeah. Well, and that's so Linda took those books and we made it, or she made them different, and really, like they literally did. They went from fade to black to woo. Hey, we get to see it all now. This is fun. But that's the kind of books I like. Not everybody does. People do like what I hate the words, but the clean romance they call it.
I had a PA when this one came out. Terry, she's a sweetheart, good friend of mine. When that 1-star review came out about crap, she begged me to write a different version and change every cuss word to poop and poo and all these very innocuous, childish words. She wanted me to write, and I was like, do you know how long that would take me to change all of those? And make
F.
Yeah, make it friendly for this person that didn't like all the language. And what was real so funny, it was like, it wasn't really strong on language. It was, I mean, out of all of my books, it's probably got the least amount of language in it. And I'm like, there's premarital sex, there's violence, there's all this stuff, and she was upset about crap.
Yeah.
So,
really.
Yeah.
That'd be like somebody criticizing one of my stories because the lead characters are so damn, and then the story actually starts out with somebody attacking him, jumping out of an alley, and he stabs him in the eyeball.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's okay.
Damn is prohibited, but violence isn't.
Yeah.
In my defense, it was violence in self-defense. So he was attacked. All bets are off.
Yeah.
Well, Molly has at least one book called Teacher's Pet, and she's got like a PG-13 version, and then she's got the more R-rated version. And she finds that a lot of people will buy the R-rated version, and then they find out there's a PG version that they can then give to their friends. So,
okay.
Yeah, they're like, here's yours.
There's one for my readers and one for
myself.
Mom. Okay.
Yeah, the Kenzie Michaels R-rated one's probably this thick, and then the other one's just like
This is my grandma's version.
Yeah, really. It's 3 pages, but it's a good story.
This is the version I give my daddy when he says he wants to read my books.
Yeah. This is
so that he doesn't think his little girl's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the day I caught Andy reading Warrior's Secret. I'm like, what are you doing?
Ooh.
Yeah. And he's like, well, I figured you wrote it. I should probably read it. I'm like, no, you should probably not. No.
John
like, and besides, you don't know how to read, right?
John's not really a reader. He's not a big reader, but he loves audiobooks. So when Ulterior Motives came out on audiobooks, he listened to that and he loved it. And so ever since then, he's been like, I know how you write. I know you're good. He's been really big cheerleader. But I bounced these ideas off of him as I wrote it. And while he hasn't read it in its entirety, he now says he's not sure that he should sleep next to me at night. Or at least keep one eye open while he sleeps. So
Yep.
There's a downside to having your significant other read your stuff.
Yeah, that's Cookie reads only about 75% of my output for that reason. So
yep. I do believe that my wife would probably not allow me to be alone with any other females at a convention if I read everything that I wrote.
Probably not. But
if we read my books, we would never be alone.
I have
divine intervention.
Who is a very devout Christian. I have a pen name so that woman would never figure out that I wrote books. We don't have a relationship. We don't talk. It's not that kind of grandmother. Out of the blue one day, on one of my worst days of my life, this woman texted me. I didn't know she knew how to text. She sends me a text and she says, I bought your book. I'm like, oh no.
Roll.
Red alert.
Yeah. Oh no.
Shields up, Captain.
So, I'm like, okay, all right. The very next text, there are typos in it. I'm a good proofreader. You should hire me. Okay, fine. I let that go. I didn't respond. The very next text was, and there's 10 pages missing. I played along. Okay, what 10 pages? And of course, she tells me. I write it down to look at later. And the conversation goes on and she says, and I'm really upset about that. I'm like, okay, well, that's not my problem. That's an Amazon problem. You bought the book from Amazon, I'm assuming. You have to notify them. Okay, so what she does is put a review on Amazon. There's 10 pages missing out of this book that I got. I'm like, okay.
It's a review.
You got the algorithms working for you.
Right. I'm like, whatever. Okay. So then I may or may not have made a Facebook post, so there must be a family member that's relaying messages. So I made a Facebook post about something about every time you step back into my life, you make a derogatory comment. I wonder why I'm not in your life. I got another text. I'm so sorry if what I did hurt you in any way. I'm like,
she told you misspelled your post, right?
So yeah, there's a reason I write under a pen name. It was never, that woman and some of the other family was never supposed to know that I wrote books. Never.
Yeah.
But that's divine intervention, because the pages that were missing out of that book are the exact pages where it talks about how the main character is lamenting the fact that her brothers have passed. Spoiler alert. Her brothers are killed. And she's lamenting that fact. Like, I can't believe that if we have a God that is so great, he let this happen. So I'm like, that's divine intervention right there.
Yeah.
Really.
It could not have gone better. Those 10 pages, you shouldn't have been reading anyway.
Yeah. Perfect 10 pages to go missing.
Yeah. No, but the idea of the pseudonym really makes me happy. I've started using a pseudonym, and it was going to be for some erotica I planned to write, because I have relatives who are devout Christians, and I don't want to upset them. I don't want to have that conversation with them. And then I started using it for a little mainstream work, and I'm like, well, I don't know. And then recently, I was part of a writers group, and they misspelled my name in their newsletter. They used what I'd given them, but they misspelled my name. I figure I'm going to use that name that they misspelled it under as my pen name from now on, and this is going to be my Dino Porn account.
There you go.
And in the bio, it's going to list this group as one of my influences.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So, I'm weaponizing my pseudonym.
There you go.
Well,
there's a story in fandom about when one of my friends was having a rough time trying to focus on what he wanted to write. So he thought he'd sit down and write some of the sleaziest stuff he could possibly come up with, and it sold like hotcakes.
Of course it did.
And then his regular readers for the other genre jumped in, and it became a running gag at conventions. Oh no, his name. And it's just, he just goes, I didn't even think I was ever going to publish that, but it just slipped out, you know.
That's what she said.
Most of my books are, quote, clean. And then there's the 4.
I'm glad I hadn't taken a drink when you said that.
Yeah.
And then there are the 4 that have explicit sex in it. And I've noticed an uptick in sales at book shows, but since I've started putting parental advisory across them, and people go, why? And I'm like, well, this is sexual situations. This is what's called the seduction of Lily Monroe. So yeah, blatant sex. And
I want all of those.
One blatant sex scene here, and they
back up the Brinks truck.
They look at those, and then they look at my other books, and they look back and they go, I want that one, and usually point to either Woodstock Dreams or Seduction of Lily Monroe, which are the blatant sex ones.
I've read Lily Monroe. That was a great book.
Thank you.
Seriously. And I've got Woodstock Dreams. That's on my to-read pile. So
I've seen your to-read pile. It's taller than you are.
My to-read pile takes up 3 semi-trucks.
Yeah.
I know.
But yes, earlier, Amy, you were talking about changing the covers of the Shadows trilogy. I have to change the cover of Secret. So Carl loves this part too. So I'm going to change the covers of the other ones just a little bit because I have to. I have to change the Elite Warrior series to something else. But there's a hiccup. I don't think I can change that on Amazon. So
no, you can't.
I have to get a hold of Amazon and find out, do I have to take these all down and put them out as all brand new books? Or can I get away with changing the Elite Warrior series to the Elite Warrior books or the Elite Warrior novels? Or, you know, can I tweak the words a little bit? Or is that something set in stone? Yeah.
Yeah. That's something I'm looking into as well, because I'm told because I want to rewrite parts of the first book too. Not a lot of it, just things that bug me now that I know more about the writing process. It's technical stuff that just makes me nuts. But I know I can't change more than 20% of the book. If I do, then Amazon considers a completely new book.
Yes, I think
you have to get a new ISBN for it and everything.
Because I ghosted for somebody and we worked on that. And I think it might be 30%.
I thought it was 20, but however, you know, there's that fine line.
It's a substantial amount. Yeah, well, I know that you can't quote more than 20% in your sales. I know that. Maybe
that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
maybe. But again, yeah, it's something definitely to sit down and figure out. Okay, these are the parameters that I can work within.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll take a whole week.
Yeah, or longer in my case, probably, because I just don't have time to think about it half the time.
Yeah, and that's me. It's like I can't sit down and figure out the business end of this until I have a day or I have a chunk of hours where I can sit down and do this. Yeah. A lot of days I don't have a chunk of hours that I can sit down and do this.
Well, usually what the solution is, usually people DM me and say, "Hey, Brian, what do you know about this?" Because they know I'll get interested. And I'm not saying that nobody here on this panel has done this, but I'll get interested, and I'm like, "Gee, I wonder what the answer is." Suddenly I'm reading the damn Amazon terms of service for the 15th time, trying to find this thing. But that's why people come to me, because I do the research and I'm smart. And
where's the loophole?
Wait a minute, this Carl guy.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean it shouldn't read like a penthouse letter?
They were talking about the romance genre. And occasionally you'll have something like Molly was saying that she'll go through and skip all the sex scenes, and sometimes she'll read every word.
Yeah.
If it's well written,
right?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
and
exactly.
holds your interest, and you ease into it. It's like a good session of sex,
and it's not the same thing over and over and over.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was trying to help a new writer one time. This is back when we had our writers group some 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was, the lips turned purple and throbbed.
Yeah.
Didn't say which pair.
Not the green room. Not the green room.
I thought that was innocent enough.
I think in this writer's book, everything turned purple and throbbed. So
yeah,
good.
If it turns purple, 4 hours, you should seek medical assistance.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. It sounded more like a medical problem than
like somebody's losing circulation.
Yeah. Well, and I go by the words of Tom Lehrer, the great satirist from the 50s and 60s. Give me smut and nothing but a dirty novel that I can't shut if it's unsutable. So,
I can do that. They're called Vella.
That's true. I'm looking into that now. I got time this week. I'm going to look into that this week.
Linda just said something that I'm very glad to hear.
Yes.
You can with the Zon, you can change the cover and the series name without losing the original listing for the book.
Okay, that's what I had thought, but I wasn't sure.
I thought so, but when I recently just ordered extra copies of, I think, Honor and Worth, let's say, and one of them I have listed as an Elite Warrior novel. The other one is listed as an Elite Warrior series. I can't change that. I went in and tried. I cannot change that part. Now, it doesn't list it like on the cover. It lists it like when you buy it.
Yeah.
So somewhere, and I know where I can see it, it says an Elite Warrior novel on the one, and the other one says an Elite Warrior series. Well, I guess that's a subtitle of the book, maybe, is what I'm remembering. And you cannot change the subtitle name.
Yeah, you can't change the title or the subtitle without losing your listing.
Right. And you can change the cover, because I remember I had it done with my thin book, Conflict.
Okay.
Because mine was a solid red cover. You can tell I designed it. And then I gave it to Cookie, and she put a real cover on it.
Yeah.
So
I would say that, Michaela, if you're worried about that little bit there, that you need to get back to writing. Quit fiddling with the subtitle.
Oh yeah. No, I spent maybe 15 minutes figuring that out, and it wouldn't let me change it, and I went, never mind.
Yeah, unless you can try to do that in my indicators.
It's not worth it if it just shows up for me. Like, as long as the book is good, the title is good, I don't care. Whatever.
There you go.
The thing I wanted to do was, now that I've got the rights back and it's going to a different publisher, to change the cover to where it also says Volume 1, because there's going to be a Volume 2.
Yeah.
But the other than that addition from the original cover artist, nothing else is going to change on the cover. The content, the only thing that's changed in it is a bunch of typos corrected and a bunch of brand new typos reinserted.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing with Secret. Like,
Very good,
we're
Linda.
getting all the typos out.
Good idea,
Yeah.
Linda.
Yeah, Linda smacks me on a daily basis. It's
saves you $20 downtown.
Yeah, it's just something that I know if I'm worried about it, other authors, especially newbie authors, are worried about it. It's not that big a deal. It's just something that when I look at it, I'm like, I want that all uniform. The other thing I want is I want all the books to be the same
size.
Yeah, we noticed that yesterday or day before yesterday.
Warrior Secret goes here. Warrior's Worth is a little taller. This is also the one that is a lot thicker because I fubbed on the formatting. So and not one of those books is the same dang size.
Somewhere along the line, Amazon changed the book sizes, kind of like candy bar sizes.
No, we changed the sizes.
We changed? No.
Because when you publish a book, it asks you what size do you want to make this book, just like Lulu does.
Okay.
And it's an easy enough error to make.
Right. And I didn't bother to measure, and I know, right?
I didn't know you had that choice of
yes. So as an author, especially an indie author, you have to do all this stuff. All of the mechanics of it, you're responsible for. So if there's a flub, like the books are not all the same size, or like that's on me. Or like scars, I did this through Lulu, and when it showed me, I saw this, but I thought, well, no, that's just on the thing. Right. No, I should have stretched that image and covered that whole thing. So now I know this is my mess up. That's why I ordered one book.
Yeah.
I
always get a proof copy.
Yes, that's my proof copy.
Yes.
So yes, I have one, but it's not ever going to be for sale. It might go in like a gift basket or something, or a prize for one of the games that we play in my mercenaries group. But it's never going to be for sale just because it's a flub.
Yeah.
It's a proof copy. But the story's there. So if you don't care what the cover looks like, there you
go. Yes, I know the bibliophiles' problem when they get one that isn't quite as large as what they're used to.
Yeah.
The different sizes. Hey, I had to specially build my book. I had to specially build my own bookshelves because there were trade paperbacks as well as normal paperbacks, and then there's who decided to put out little big books again?
I mean, seriously. And one of my favorites, of course, we've said this before, is Christine Feehan. All her books are the same dang size, except for one. It's not in the series. It's a different book in a different series, and it might be a standalone actually, but it's completely different. It's not the same size. It's weird. It sits on the shelf, and you're like, that's just weird.
There was one author with a 6-book series back in the I think it was about the 90s, and there was actually artwork on the spine. When you put the entire set together, it was supposed to have a picture as you went on down the bookshelf, which would also help you know when you've got one out of order, at least publication order. And then the second from the last book was a 1/4 inch shorter than the rest of the books in the series. So the artwork was screwed up.
Oh, God.
And everybody that was OCD that was buying the series was going, oh, no, it's not the same size. It's not the same size.
Proof copies are very important. The third book in my Hunter's Ridge, when the proof copy came back, instead of being the small size like the other, was comic book size.
Oh, that's right.
It was 8 by 10, yeah. And that's the one thing about Lulu. They only offer you certain sizes. You can't make it like a 1/4 inch taller than your other book. I guess like Amazon does.
Yeah, Amazon, you can do whatever size you want.
You get 6 by 9, or you get 8 by 10.
The nice thing though, with Lulu, I found, because I'm looking at doing these little novellas or side stories for the Rogue Stone Warriors. And I was looking at doing just like a pocket size notebook, and maybe doing like a side story of Hawk or a side story of Megan. And so I'm like, okay, well, these, I don't want them to cost a lot. I want these to be like a quick read, a cheap thing they can buy if they're not quite sure about the series. They want to spend a couple bucks, but then come back and get the series. So I was looking at it, and you can make smaller books, but you can't make like pocket notebooks. So Lulu, though, will let you go through and pick out what size book you want, what kind of book you want, hardback, paperback, comic book, whatever, and they'll give you a guesstimate on what it would cost to print that. I'm like, that's genius. Zan does not do that. You have to actually upload and pick and choose, and then they'll give you one. I'm like, so I got to make a mock-up book for you to tell me what it would cost?
Oh, no. Oh,
yeah. So until I have some sort of mock-up, I can't try the Zan's prices for that. But Lulu is not crazy priced on what I'm looking at. So it's like, well, perhaps. I don't know. We will see if it works.
Well, and also after you publish a few with them, you kind of get an idea of what you can get away with charging.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and here again, remember we talked about all those irons in the fire, and we actually have to write the book.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah. Those aren't written yet. They're just, well, let me rephrase. They're written. They're handwritten in a notebook. So I could type them up, I suppose, in my spare time.
Your copious amounts of spare time.
Yes, my copious amounts of spare time. Yes.
Or you might have a friend who would be willing to type them up for you.
Yeah. Well, and that was my original thought was handwriting, because handwriting to me would look like someone's journal entry. And I thought, well, that would be a really good idea. We could go, like, we could take a scene from one of the books, and it could be someone's journal entry, like one of the girls. They could write, had a great time at dinner. After dinner, here's what happened. Here's what you didn't see in the book. But it was like, well, if it was handwritten, that would look really nice. I bet you there's a font out there that is like handwriting.
It's called script.
There's a lot of them.
Maybe we could find something that would work, something similar.
I do when I format currently with some of the program stuff that I use, I can make text bubbles.
Yeah.
So if there's texting in the book, you can actually make it look like a text message. There's handwriting fonts, so you can make it look like a handwritten letter. Some fonts do not translate well to different e-readers.
Right.
So that can be an option. It can be an issue.
These would be strictly books that I would sell only at cons. So they wouldn't even be a published book.
Okay, so it's not going to be like on an e-reader. It'll just be
never.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can absolutely do that easily.
Yeah, the smallest I could do on Lulu was like a 3x5. And I'm like, well, that's small-ish, But I wanted here's exactly what I wanted. Something like this. A little bitty book, because it's only going to be 20 pages, maybe.
Yeah.
It's just going to be one scene. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do that.
They don't write themselves.
If they do, my books are way behind.
Yeah, me too.
They're ignoring me.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I was thinking, is that there's boatloads of fonts, period. There's got to be ones that look like handwriting.
Thousands of
They do write themselves, but you still have to do the typing.
And
and that's the problem.
There's that.
Because it requires my cooperation.
The trouble with your handwriting fonts, is that some places, you have to upload it as a PDF. And sometimes the fonts don't embed correctly.
Right.
You have to see, first of all, which fonts will work before you go too far.
Yeah, and so that's why this is like a I haven't done it yet, but this is coming. It will get done. We just got to figure out the logistics of it, basically, because the stories are written, or most of them, because there's always more.
Oh yeah.
And more and more of the publishers are not doing saddle stitch anymore. They want the perfect binding, like most books are.
That was the other thing is I would really like saddle stitching, but Lulu does offer it.
Do they? They told me that they were going to phase it out.
Well, they might, but right now they're still doing it.
Cool. Yeah, I think Amazon is on the way out with that because I've got one book that's saddle stitched and it's under. I think they last I heard they are trying to move everything that's like less than 100 pages out of active publication, I guess, because it's tough to do a perfect binding on those.
Yeah,
but they don't want to do saddle stitches anymore.
Yeah, the saddle stitches are staples, folks.
Like a comic book.
Right. So, then there's always I'll call them hometown printers. We have a couple places in this area that they print books. Yeah. But a lot of what they advertise is like brochures, magazines, newspapers.
Sure. Book,
business cards, door hangers, that sort of thing. But if this book is only going to be 20, 25 pages, maybe 50 on the long end, maybe that's something they can do.
Yeah.
We did that with Donna's books of poetry. We actually went to a printer and said, here's what we need printed, and they did it.
That's neat. Okay.
But in that case, I think we had to mock up the book, actually give them photo-ready pages that they could photograph. Oh. So we had to, figure out, is page 5 supposed to be on the same page as page 8? So that when they put it together, it'll all. So we had to do a lot of prep work for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you be ready for that.
Yeah, you might be able to go to some place like a Staples or an Office Depot or Office Max, whatever, and go do what they call a chap book. And just do the whole thing yourself. And you can also get a special. I've got one. It's a special stapler. But it has like an elongated arm on it, so that you can slide the magazine under there and do the stapling yourself. So that's another option. Also, you can order those off of Amazon. That's where I got mine years ago. That's it, Carl. That's it. That's the one. I think mine's still downstairs someplace.
There's something Carl said that I'd like to address because I might have a workaround that most of you probably would not be familiar with as to the matter of different fonts in the same manuscript not converting to PDF correctly. I have found that if I lay it out in HTML as a web page first, and then convert that to a PDF, the fonts work. And so do illustrations for that matter. But you got to be very, very careful with the page size because HTML works with a continuously running stream of text rather than individual pages. And the PDF converts it to individual pages. So if you've got something that gets split between 2 pages, it's a pain to go back and resize illustrations or resize a different font to fit if you want it on one page, rather than have it all of a sudden stop, turn the page, there's the rest of it, which is, should be all right, but illustrations, that's definitely a bad thing.
And this is why we porch sit and talk out ideas.
I've been thinking in HTML for 26 years now, so it's no problem for me to go in to a manuscript and do the entire thing in HTML code, and it would be simpler than some of the things that you actually download to write web pages with nowadays, because they put a lot of junk code in there. You can leave all the junk out and just use the bare minimum. You can even put in paragraph indents, which is something that a lot of web pages do not have, and a lot of websites absolutely hate to deal with.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be block alignment,
Mm-hmm.
Justified left,
Yeah.
but no paragraph indents.
Mm-hmm.
And I was back in the day pioneering, back when dinosaurs ruled the earth. I was putting in paragraph indents. I was putting in illustrations. I was putting in tables. I was putting in all kinds of things, and I was trying to print this stuff out so people who would not go online could
Yeah.
read it without any idea of going to a publisher. And I had to go through and resize stuff. You have to throw away that PDF that was wrong to start with, go back to the HTML and look at it in the print view to make sure everything, if you've got an illustration, you don't want it split across 2 pages, you go to the print view, then you get to resize that illustration. As far as actual different fonts go, converting from HTML to PDF will even preserve if you've got different colors of text.
And this is why my friends are nerds.
Hey, 26 years in e-publishing, I think I learned to think. I pioneered several things.
I was gonna say, yeah. All right, guys, we are almost at the 2-hour mark.
Wow.
Cool.
I'm sorry we did not raise any more money though. I know, I kept looking, but not tonight. We'll do another push though. We'll get it. Maybe we'll do a whole special show just about that. So, yeah, I know, no kidding, Dawn. That flew by. Like I just looked at the clock and I'm like, oh shoot, we've been doing 2 hours. Okay.
We covered a lot of territory.
We did.
Weird.
Yeah. But I honest to God, I like that. I like what we call porch sitting. You sit around, you discuss it, you get on a subject, and you just keep it towards the writing. But it's a round table. It's what do we need to talk about? What do people have questions about?
And we had a lot of good questions and comments from the chat. And
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Does
That
anybody
led us
know
down
that-
several
Yeah.
byways.
Does anybody know who the Facebook user was?
Oh, one was Jen Thompson.
Okay. Because
Love
the
it, Jen.
person mentioned the cons that they do, and I was like, oh, well, who is this? And then Keisha popped up, so I saw Keisha. So, yeah, on my end, it
she
didn't show.
identified herself at one point.
Yeah.
Yep. Tonight was like
Yes.
if Stupid O'Clock and Last Man Standing actually had focus.
Oh, okay.
Go on with your bad
we'll
self.
Just end it here, guys, and we'll talk in 2
They're
weeks.
not supposed to, but this is, and it's great.
So the 21st. So that'll be right after QuadCon. So we'll have a report after QuadCon.
Good.
Maybe we'll have some more inductees to NDCD. Because I've got a couple businesses in the Peoria area that I think need to be on that.
Cool.
Like the one I just talked to tonight, the Book Nook. She's very interested in learning stuff. What remark, Rich?
Hard to
If
tell.
they actually had focus.
Focus. What is focus? What were we talking about? Okay. So anyway, we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Before we go,
Yeah.
hashtag always promote. I will be on Nevermind Furthermore tomorrow. Kelly will be there with me. Dawn will be there with me. I'm not sure who else is going to be there, but we will be talking about women in publishing.
Awesome. And I would be there, but I cannot because where I would be, I will get no reception.
Yeah, I was invited, but that's during the day job hours, so I can't join, unfortunately.
That's we can't be writers all the time yet. It's okay. It will happen.
We're working towards it.
No.
We
are writers all the time. We
Yes.
can't write all the time.
Right.
Yes.
the outside world. Started to say real world, but there ain't nothing real about that shit.
We're in the Matrix.
The world gets in the way, and Stupid Clock and Last Man Standing Thursday night, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Saturday night, starting at 11 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yep.
I don't have to work Friday, so.
Oh no.
Thursday night.
Oh no.
The 10-hour stupid o'clock.
Yes.
No. Joe Dog has to sleep eventually.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And not on camera.
It'll be the 10-hour Last Man Standing.
Yeah, there we go. Dan will be asleep for 8 of it.
Hey, it wouldn't be a bit surprised, but I bet I still carry on a scintillating conversation in my sleep.
Probably.
And probably give Donna ideas for 6 more erotic novels. But...
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Good. Donna needs ideas.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You got plenty of your own. I've seen Carl smile.
All right, guys. Anybody else got anything? Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.